I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu, tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
My name is Street Alert is the show. Guess what? Ndi kwaluwa pake sawa zinongera nze kumanya abasubuzi bayo chiche bamanyi ku tini number. Tini number. Bamanyi tini number. Bamanyi ekola mugaso ki. Eina mugaso ki bani abazigaba. So tujoininge konga tugenda ku Street Alert ngira tugenda batukola interview yafe ku bantu benyini omu abasubuza abenjawulo n'abantu benyini abakolera emirimu kinoomu batubulire tini number bazimanyi. Chiche bamanyi ku URA. Ye bannange. Ngoberera nga tugenda maaso. Njagala kumanya tini chechi.
Tini namba chechi bazze bakituyingizamu naye ate tukitya. Kati tini namba eyo kubagerekera omusolo we batugamba.
Ina mugaso ki.
Tini eyamba government. Tini eyamba government. Nze tenyamba. Tini eyamba government nze tenyamba.
Tini chechi.
Tini. Pozingao.
Tini namba ogimanyi.
Tini namba simanyi tini namba kikuba mumbuza tini namba.
Gomanyiza bika bimeka.
Mingi.
Aha, mpe bika byomanyi.
Tini namba kisinzira kuba olinza okuba ng'ogenda nga ku mobile money ne bakubuuza pin code. Olinza okuba ng'ogenda nga ku mobile money ne bakubuuza bingi bye babuuza. Nga pin code like that. Ngazi pin code like that.
Tini ogimanyi.
Tini ngimanyi.
Tini ina mugaso ki.
Tini omugaso gwayo eyamba okusasulako emisolo n'ebirala.
Tini namba ogimanyi.
Ngimanyi.
Osubya tini namba ina mugaso ki.
Ino mugaso ekuyamba ku registeringa n'okumonitoringa business yo bwekola.
Amanya
Mutalema Robert.
Mutalema Robert. Wanokolawo mulimu ki wano?
Kale nkola mulimu wa mobile money.
Mobile money? Tini okimanyi.
Yes.
Tini kitegeeza ki?
Kale ebeera enamba eva muri URA yosula ngama osasula musulu kubanga nange nko omusulu.
Tini namba okimanyi.
Tini namba nkimanyi kuba njiina kuba nina edduuka wane kampato oyinza kuba na dduuka notaba na tini namba.
Kusubya tini namba ina mugaso ki?
Tini namba batugamba sometimes oba otambuddeko ebweru oba like okukakasa nti oli mutuuze era ow'omusolo to the country olina okuba ne tini namba ng'omuntu.
Tini namba ogimanyi?
Tini namba nkimanyi.
Tini namba erina mugaso ki?
Tini namba eyambako ng'oyagala osasula emisolo like URA, oyagala okufuna number plate y'emmotoka, wetagisa tini namba, oyagala okufuna driving license, wetagisa tini namba yese. Tini ngimanyi.
Tini erina mugaso ki?
Waliwo tini ekikebe, tini ennamba.
Tini ennamba?
Tini ngimanyi kale oba recognized nti osasula omusolo gwo bulungi nti tebakuzibwaza mu bintu by'emisolo webityo egambo oba straight mu bintu ebyokola.
Njagala kumanya tini kyeki?
Tini namba kwensasulira omusolo nekyekirala.
Gw'osuubira zirina mugaso ki tini namba ezo?
Tini namba zinowooza nga identification oba identifyingira omuntu oba ayina bizinesi oba ayina kyakola.
Tini namba okimanyi?
Tini namba nkimanyi.
Kitegeeza ki?
Tini namba kitegeeza bw'oba olina tini namba katugambe oguze emotoka, otumiza emotoka, kati bw'oba ogenda kusasula mu revenue olina okuba olina tini namba okugamba esobole okubeera n'omumanya gwo.
Kyesuubira tini namba tugiyize era tumanye omugaso gwayo. Atagimanya ayogedde byonna byoyogedde. Okay, kati tufune answer etuufu okuva ew'abakugu. Tini namba n'emigaso gya tini namba teweerabira Bro Hassa, a boy from Kiboga has been my name. Comedy Tricks is where I come from. Don't forget, you can check there for more funny clips. And again, Balix, bebabadde ku nteekateeka kubanga kino ekintu kikutuukako wonna gye tutambulidde banaye mukulikeyo big up on Faisal on camera and Faisal my main producer bonna bikwasaganyizza. Banaye ndowooza tunaddamu mweraba.
Tini ye nnamba y'omusolo ekwawula ku muwi w'omusolo omulala. Era ng'ennamba eno esobola okuweebwa ng'omuntu ssekinnoomu individual oba ng'ekitongole katugeze olina ka business kakali eyo olina ekitongole ky'okoleramu kwegamba tugiwa omuntu ssekinnoomu n'omuntu atali ssekinnoomu. Era ennamba eno ebeera nnamba nga ya digiti 10 okugeza nga 1000, 22, 33, 47 kwegamba ebeerako ennamba 10. Era ng'ennamba eno ekwawula ku muwi w'omusolo omulala. Ate ekirala omuntu yandiyagadde okumanya nti ekuyamba etya. Tini teyamba gavumenti yokka kukuŋŋaanya musolo okuva mu bantu oba ebitongole. Wabula naawe ng'omuntu ekuyamba okugeza. Ekuyambako okusasula omusolo ekyo nkyogedde. Ekuyambako nga osuubula ebintu okuva ebweru w'eggwanga ate n'okubitunda ebweru w'eggwanga okusobola okubikiriyalinga ne bibeera nga bisasula omusolo olina okuba nga olina tini. Ekirala ekuyambako oba ng'osaba ttenda mu gavumenti kubanga waliwo abamu ku ffe ababeera nga twagala okukolera gavumenti emirimu ekuwadde akalimu oba weetaaga okubeera ng'olina tini lwa nsonga nti omuntu gavumenti gwewe okukolera emirimu oba ebitongole ebirala eby'enjawulo bikusaba okubeera ne kye tuyita tax clearance certificate ekukakasa nti ggwe wawandiisibwa era emisolo gyo gisasula bulungi. So tini ekuyambako mu nkola eyo. Ekirala okukyusa obwannannyini ku bidduka. Waliwo bannaffe abatunda emmotoka zaabwe nga baziguza abantu abalala. Kizibu nnyo okukyusa emmotoka ensangi zino nga tolina ki tini. Kubanga oyingira mu tini yo mwennyininyini n'ogiteekamu n'oteekamu ne password yo. Noba ng'osobola okukyusa emmotoka eyo kuba emmotoka kati twazikyusa zaawandiisibwa ku system si bye biri ebyedda ng'olina ekipapula kyebbali n'obeera ng'okikyusa n'okizzeewo omuntu omulala. So tini ya mugaso nnyo.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
That's my little angel Rose. Together with millions of other children, my daughter Rose is assured of learning something new every day. Moses, my husband, just like many other commercial farmers, has his business supported so he can provide for us. When my other little one was on the way, even with my pregnancy complications, it was a quick, smooth ride to Mulago Specialized Women and Neonatal Hospital. Also, my new baby was able to make it through his first days with the help of specialized equipment thanks to the reliable electricity which has also been extended throughout the country. All this and more has been made possible because of you.
Join us and together let's do more for our country. Get your free tin instantly at www.ura.go.ug.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program and electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Wait, Abu. Tunamaliriza. And what are you doing throwing papers all over the place?
I'm looking for an invoice for a sound system and cables that I received yesterday, but I can't find it.
You know there is a way of keeping all this in one place and available to you as and when you need it.
I really wish there was one, because the way these invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Kati tuli ku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URA's Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business. And you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
Uganda, time check is 9:24, and of course we are live just like we advertised yesterday on the Live Tax Lounge, and this particular one is a special that has been put together for you, the taxpayer. It's the very last episode of the Live Tax Lounge. in this financial year. So the next time we shall be interacting on the Live Tax Lounge will be in the new financial year 2022-2023, where we shall be pursuing a new target. But this particular one was put together for you who is contending with the final tax return or contending with your provisional tax returns, depending on your annual calendar. Now, some of those terms might come off as complicated for you, but you're very lucky because with me on set is a trio of ladies who are coming from our tax literacy team, and they are here to exactly break it down for us full extent possible, so that we all get to appreciate exactly what should be happening in the run-up to 30th June 2022. The idea here is that you should not at any one point get locked in by the time. The deadline is nigh, but my friends are also here to make sure that you're well equipped to beat this deadline. I've been joined on set by 3 super ladies who have been with URA, who have been busy educating the taxpayers for some time now. And at this very moment, I'm going to request each one of them to introduce themselves by way of name, position, and where they're currently working. I'll start with my Muslim friend here.
Thank you very much, Solomon. My name is Joria Nechirunda from the Tax Literacy Unit. I'm an officer there. And basically what we do is to dissect the tax laws for the taxpayers down there.
Yeah, just to amplify a bit for Joria here, she has been very instrumental in the tax katale, the famous tax katale. From day one, she has been walking to the taxpayers in the different places, and we are very proud of what she's been able to do in that space. Yes, I have my other friend in the middle. Vicky, if you can come in.
Good morning, Uganda. Good morning to the viewers. My name is Vicky Ferina Rodias. I am a tax officer from the Tax Literacy Unit. Basically, we simplify the law, we create awareness to our taxpayers, and in such cases of need where we are all moving towards the final end of year, we come to sensitize you on what are your obligations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Vicky, like my friend here, is humble. They don't want to really overhype themselves, but Vicky Lodia has been very instrumental in connecting the taxpayer from the Far East region. My friends who are speakers of the Karamajong language, she's one of our interpreters, and she does tremendous work, and we are very proud of her, Vicky. Thank you so much for making it to the show. And at the extreme end is a legend who probably needs no introduction. Nonetheless, I'll request her to introduce herself.
Good morning, viewers. Hafsa Sevia is my name. The Tax Literacy Unit of Domestic Taxes. Our mandate is basically creating awareness, walking the journey with you, the client, making sure that your compliance is at its best. We make sure you reduce the cost of doing your business. We handhold you. We simplify policy amendments on an annual basis. So basically, that is why we are in existence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hafsa is being humble too, but most times, more often than not, Hafsa has been heard on radio. So if that voice is sounding familiar, or if you've seen the face before, you've probably heard her on one of your premium radio stations, or you've seen her on one of your go-to television stations, doing exactly what it is that she just described there, breaking it down for you and making it very easy for you to appreciate these things that are usually complicated. Now, we are here to uncomplicate the complicated. And I know 30th is coming, and I know people are anxious. Some of them, a good bunch of them, have already fulfilled their obligations, but this particular moment is for he or she who is yet to fulfill exactly what it is that they should be fulfilling. Hafsa, if I may ask you, exactly what should someone do between now and 30th June to be safe, for lack of a better word?
Exactly. Thank you very much, Solomon. In between now and the 30th of June, 2020, which is just next week, we expect you, our clients, to look into your records. What has happened during the year? What have you done? What has come through your sales? What has come through your expenses? Put it together and reflect it in a return. By now, we expect a provisional return for those who have the accounting date as in 30th June. We expect a final return for those who have the accounting date as 31st December. So we are basically here to remind you to see that you do not fall short of that. Then a penalty will automatically come at the end of it all. How do you do it? Do you know what to do? Can you make use of that liaison office near you? Visit it and see that you can be helped. Move with your team, move with an identification to see that we can handhold you. Our offices will be open even beyond 5 o'clock. We are going to be open over the weekends to see that we can actually help you comply, so that by 30th June at least, we have everybody who is on the register and has filed their return. Because filing a return is not exactly that you are going to make a payment, but at least paint that picture for URA. URA needs to know what has happened, because we won't assume, and URA is operating a self-assessment regime. That is why we say it starts with you, painting that picture and letting us know how has business transpired at your end. What should we expect? Is there payment or there is no payment? Is there a loss? You could carry it forward. So those are the things we would like to see coming through a return. And there are different types of returns. We simplify them by walking the journey with you, hand-holding you. That's why these offices will be open beyond the normal working hours, busy waiting for you. Open over the weekend, waiting for you to see that in the event that you have any challenge, we can see how to mitigate it and solve it.
Thank you so much, Hafsa, and of course I'll pick it up from where you closed it off by talking about the hand-holding element. I think it's very important that we get to appreciate exactly how URA is prepared to handhold the taxpayer should he or she find themselves stuck in any situation. And that is where I'm going to go to my sister, Vicky Lodia, to break it down for us. What are these various avenues that URA has put in place to ensure that no taxpayer gets stuck alone as they're trying to do exactly what it is that they should be doing at this time?
Thank you very much, Solomon. Basically, what URA has put in place to handhold the taxpayer or the taxpayers in the challenges that they face, like the return filing right now. My colleague officer said this is the time that we expect them to prepare their records and to submit their returns. Yes, it is our time now where we need to ring the bell, and the bell should be heard over there that this is the time they need to prepare and file their returns. How do we handhold them? We have different channels that we handhold them. Right now we have the onboarding team under the tax literacy unit, where we basically bring in every new taxpayer who is registered in our tax register. We go through them the whole process, right from the time they come in the register, how to file a return, how to make a payment, how to navigate our portal, just to be able to comply with their tax obligations. We also have other channels. We have the stations across every country, and whoever is challenged with any kind of work like filing returns or payment, we always advise our taxpayers to visit any URA tax office for any assistance. We have the WhatsApps, actually. We have a URA WhatsApp number. In case any taxpayer has any challenge there, we are able to go through you what you need to understand in order to help you comply. So we have our emails, we send the starter packs for those who need to know. That's how we onboard them right to the period when they are able to comply. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicky Lodia, for that clear explanation. Of course, I would like to probe you a bit deeper on that, because I know for a fact that URA has widened its offering when it comes to on-call and digital support. if you could further break it down for the benefit of the listening viewer, because quite often they get the urge of wanting to go to the nearest URA office, yet some of these elements could be better be handled online.
Yeah, some of these can be handled online. We have an active contact center where a taxpayer needs to call, and we are able to handle all the issues that the taxpayer wants to understand in order to comply. Even online, we have actually the WhatsApp line where you raise your issue and you get your instant reply to your request. That's how the online thing is. But we also have the online material where it's available on our URA portal. If you need any tax education on how to generate a payment, how to file, we advise our viewers there outside to visit our URA portal. It has simplified tax information. One page or two can help you actually grasp what you are to do, and you're able to comply and do and honor your tax obligation.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Joeria, I'm with you on this one, and I'm a taxpayer who's on the other side. And of course, Vicky has broken it down for us, the avenues that we could go to. But if you could point me specifically to must-visit areas on the URA web portal, that if I want to help myself self-navigate and all that stuff, where do I go?
Thank you very much, Solomon. On our website, we have actually 3 areas you can go to. We have A to Z tax topics under tax assistant. You can go to A to Z. It has all material about return filing and everything that you want to read about. It's under there. It's posted there. Different materials on rental, on presumptive, employment income, how to file a return. All those things are there under A to Z tax topics. But also, we also have still on our website, under how to use e-services, under service guides. That one is a PDF guide. It can guide you, take you through step by step on how to file a return. But still, if you're stuck, you can send us a WhatsApp, like Vicky said. Our WhatsApp number is easy, 07721400. You send them a WhatsApp, and they will be able to assist you. We also have a services mail, services@ura.go.ug. You send them an email, and they'll be able to support you. Our toll-free number, the 0800 11 7000. Contact center is now revamped. It has a lot of staff ready to support you. 24 hours, they work in shifts, so you can always call them. So basically, we also have an app, the Ask URA app. You can send your inquiry there. You can ask whatever you need there. Our team is on call, ready to support you. You can go to the stations. You can come to our offices. Yeah, we also have Twitter and Facebook. You can send us a message. We are ready to support you.
Thank you so much. It goes down in the DM. Don't get stuck if you're on Twitter or Facebook. You just get inside the DM and you make a clear inquiry, and it will be attended to in real time. And I must acknowledge that the contact center team has improved by heaps and bounds this financial year. And the service quality is much improved. But of course, you're the taxpayer. You're the one who's experiencing this. And feedback is very important to us. If you have some feedback to give us about the way that we've been offering a service, there's a survey that we are running currently, a Febano survey. If you check our pinned tweet or our pinned Facebook post, you'll be able to access the link to that survey. Please spare a minute. It only takes a minute, and give us the feedback. And like the artwork on that survey says, whether it is flowers or raw jabs, we want to hear from you. So give it to us. Raw and unedited, so that we are able to make these improvements. Thank you so much. I want to come back to you, Joeria. And the question I want to ask you is, during this season when people are trying to do their best to jump the final hurdle and make their returns and also go ahead and pay their monies, their taxes due before the deadline closes on them, what are some of the challenges that people usually contend with?
Okay, first and foremost, as we file that return, we should have a password
Mhm.
for our tin accounts. First thing, normally people forget that these passwords expire after 50 days. So that is the most important thing they should first know. Get a password to your tin, except for our small businesses, the presumptive. But these other people who need to file the provisional returns, the final returns, amend their returns, they need to have a password to their tin. If you're having a challenge to get a password, you can always contact our contact center team. They send you a password. Then the other issue usually that happens is the return itself. As you download this return, many people change the naming of that template. Yet this template, when you change its name, you affect some security settings that are embedded in that name. So as you download this return, we advise you not to change that name. Then also, the things you put in that template for the return. You should be able to put only figures or values. Some people put in formulas, others. This return is, yes, some returns are alphanumerical where you put the text and other where you put the numbers. So you should be able to follow the instructions in that template so that you don't get these errors of error code, application error. So we advise you to download the right return first of all, keep its name. As you fill it in, follow the instructions. Those are some of the few mistakes that
Thank you so much, Joeria. I want to fly to Hafsa, and we are still tackling the same question. The common challenges that people have to grapple with, so that the people who are viewing get to appreciate these and they avoid them as they are trying to, make the last lap.
Normally we have some common mistakes that may come when clients are filling these return templates. We advise a client to download a new template as and when you're filing, because ideally when you get the template, you use maybe the previous mark and you try to delete and input in whatever you're doing, at times it may fail the validation test. Then we also advise clients not to put in special characters like $signs, like @ and all that. Then at times there are arithmetical errors that may fail the validation. And maybe when I zero down to VAT, I expect you to make use of the reports that we avail in the IFRIS page. Because ideally we want the details to synchronize, because you'll be putting in input, yet in my IFRIS report I have availed for you under purchases that are summarized, some of these things aren't there. So at times when the two don't synchronize, you may fail to validate, say, a VAT return. So at least if you make use of the reports we avail in VAT, the sales and purchases, the summarized one, you could export it and put it in Excel, then over to the return template. Then you will be good at that particular time. And maybe the math, if it's a month or a year, we ensure that we have given it the beginning and ending time that synchronizes with a normal calendar. Because you'll see an example when one is filing for provisional, say this year. We are filing for a provisional return for 2021-2022. Your business may not have started on the 1st of July 2021 and maybe started about September. So there we may have issues and you may think you need to put your September day. The system does not recognize that as an accounting period. You need to reflect July 2021 up to June 2022. But what you're putting for us will be for the time when you started, say, in September up to 30th June. So we need to note those few issues that at times fail the validation bit of it. And to some clients, at times it's network. So since we are all rushing, it's getting to the close of the year, let us utilize hours that are not loaded with traffic on the system. If your return has failed to go through, maybe during the day, utilize the night hours when some of the users are off the system. It will go through smoothly, then you'll be able to submit. And maybe what clients shouldn't forget, because when you file a return, we made it easy. to generate a payment registration slip for you in case there is a payment. So you will just need to probably print it out and go and pay, or just get the PRN number on it. Say if you're paying by mobile money, that's also well. So it simplifies the work. You don't need to go onto the portal once again, then generate a PRN, then go and pay in the bank. Because we have a variety of payment platforms that you could choose on. We could pay by Payway, by the traditional cash payments in the bank, by EFT, by mobile money, by RTGS. You can give us a check. So all that can work for us, and we are here ready for you waiting. But however, if the amount on the PRN will not be paid at once because of financial difficulty, still we are on call waiting for you to see how we can simplify the installment payment for you through signing an MOU with Uganda Revenue Authority. So we have all solutions to challenges that our clients may have, because filing is one and paying is another. And in this season, we expect the two to work hand in hand.
And the deadline is the same.
Exactly, because your compliance moves in the same direction. Because when you delay in payment, the amount will attract an interest. And when it attracts an interest, it is making it difficult and expensive for you to do business, because the money is becoming expensive. So at least you come to us and we see the simpler way of making you comply without having gone through all that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hafsa. Now, yesterday on Twitter, yesterday or the day before, there was a tweet that went viral. And it had been posted on a platform whose
where
name
they're going to bewitch us.
Whose name I won't say, yes. And the gentleman already, most likely gentleman, it is safer to say that, was talking about bewitching all your Esther.
And then on to Nira. After you are done, and
you know, and
yes.
It was a little funny.
Yes.
But the reason why I'm bringing it up is especially at the tail end of the year, because I know for a fact that this is the time when URA has been proactively issuing assessments and things of that sort, and those things make life a little uncomfortable for someone who is doing
they are
business.
seeing us in totally a different picture. Maybe what we would like to tell our clients, they will just help us and probably accommodate us for this time. We are a little harsh because we are running out of time, and we gave you the whole year to work on yourself.
Yes. In fact, I wanted you to speak to the nature of the tax system of Uganda, so that we give it very good background. And people get to appreciate that by the time assessments come through, there's a journey.
There is a journey, because when you start the journey by registration, we take you through your rights and obligations, as Vicky talked about through the onboarding sessions. So we are kind of preparing you that, look here, you have entered into the family of those we expect to contribute to national development through taxes. And how are you going to do it best? Do your record keeping, because it will inform you of what has happened in your business along the year. What has happened in sales, what has happened in purchases, what has happened in the other business expenses. So by the time we come to the close of the year, you have where to pick from and probably populate the return template. So moving the journey with all that, and we keep putting in reminders quarterly, half annual. Then by the time I come to my 30th June, I feel I have done a lot in reminding you this is a self-assessment regime. Means that look at yourself, assess yourself by telling me what has happened. Because what has happened will determine what you will pay, or will determine that you are not paying. I don't know whether clients know that at times you may find yourself in a situation when there is nothing to pay. Because we have businesses that could not earn 10 million, above 10 million in a year. But they've been trading. So we expect you to paint that picture so that you don't give me the platform to think for you. Because when I am thinking for you as the URA side, I am here to mobilize revenue and maximize it in a transparent and efficient manner. And for national development, automatically I won't give you a nail. Exactly. I'll have to look at what are you doing, in which sector. Let me look at the industry in which you operate and look at your colleagues who have complied by giving me the return. Then I'll look at the industrial average. I'll get their average and try to estimate for you. So that is why the estimates come through and our clients get notifications on phone and email, please, you're reminded to pay this. And at that particular time you get pissed. From where? That means you have not done your duty. We have reminded you, you've either forgotten, or maybe you don't know what to do, or you have actually even forgotten you registered. Because ideally when you're registering and getting a TIN, that is the interest of when you tell us, what are you going to do? So at times things change. You come in and tell me, I am in business. I record business. In my mind as URA, I'll be expecting income tax. Along the way, you close that business. You go for employment, you have gotten employment somewhere. So you do not communicate to URA to tell us that, look here, I left business and closed. Please let me amend and remove that source of income. Now I'm employed by this entity and this is the appointment letter. Please adjust. So when I'm waiting for you, as somebody who actually told me in business way back, I'll expect a return, a business return. Once it doesn't come through, I'm left with no choice other than estimating you. So that is why you see those estimates come through, because a client may think that we actually know. We can't know because we do not live with you. We do not know what is happening in your life. In the event that you came and registered and told us, it is in the same breath for you to come back and tell us, look here, this change. Exactly, because we want to move this journey with you. Keep the communication with us. Whatever happens, whatever change happens with your business, let us know, so that we can know that here we do not expect any business income here. We don't expect any income tax. We are waiting for you on the pay radar from your employer. So that means your employer is the one mandated to file after deducting from you, then make payment. There are times when there is vacuum in information there. That is where we may go wrong. And URA makes an assumption you're still there, then that assessment comes.
Thank you so much, Hafsa. Now, I still have a couple of questions. And the first question I'm probably going to ask is a question that tackles the element of penalties, and maybe my sister Vicky will address this. 30th has come, 30th has gone, and I've not done that which was expected of me. What happens next?
Thank you very much, Solomon. Of course, when we're implementing this or the tax collection, the penalties normally come when a taxpayer or when I fail to do my role, to play my obligation, like the return filing. And normally why we come in such a time to educate the public, the taxpayers out there, is to avoid such. We don't want you to fall into that trap, and we begin collecting both the tax, the penalties, and the interest, remember. It will be heavy on the taxpayer. So this is the time, actually, the taxpayers need to take action, or everyone there doing business, to play their role to avoid such circumstances, and they're only able to pay their tax as it's required by law to avoid those penalties. The penalties can differ. Some are harsh. On IFRS, actually, when you fail IFRS and DTS, when you fail to activate tax terms, you have a huge penalty there, which might affect the business. So if you do your things right now, in the right way, then you can avoid such. paying 50 million can affect a business. So we urge the public there to do the right thing by filing the correct, of course, correct tax returns. There is filing and you don't declare all the information, remember. The filing is your communication between URA and you, the taxpayer. Yeah, you can declare that that is what you've transacted. AFSA actually said they will work in a self-assessment regime where we expect the information that the taxpayer has given us is true. But when we also find when we get other third-party information, like maybe you did business outside, it was withheld and you didn't declare it, then the return will not be that correct. That's when we come and advise you, the taxpayer, look here, there is some transaction or there is some business you did and you didn't what? You didn't include it. So, and when, of course, the tax due is not paid in time, it also attracts interest. Those are things we try to educate the taxpayers to avoid and do it in the right time by honoring their tax obligations at the right time.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for breaking down the stick side of non-compliance. Indeed, it's cumbersome on the side of the taxpayer. Pockets, emotions, and in every other atmosphere, they'll be disturbed quite a bit. But you can't talk about the stick without talking about the good side. And I'm going to task my sister here to share with us the importance of compliance. Why is it important for me as a taxpayer to comply? What are the benefits? What are some of the good stuff that I get from this culture?
Okay, thank you very much, Solomon. Vicky has talked about the stick. Yeah. Of course, as you file this return, you avoid the stick. The stick we talked about is the penalty. Paying this 200,000 when you are even supposed to file a new return, that's your business. You are taking out capital from your business to pay to URA. You fail to file this return and URA is saying we are paying. Let's say you decide to file it on 1st January and you are supposed to file this return by 31st December. If you don't file that return, the minimum we can assess you for failing to file is 200,000. So if you file this return in time, you are avoiding paying that 200,000 to URA because our penalty is 200,000 or 2% of the liability, whichever is higher. So the moment you fail to comply and we say pay us that money, you are eating into your capital. You would have used this money to do some other things and do more investment probably, and it doesn't take much. Maybe the other thing is good reputation with in the industry, with government, the people you transact with, the suppliers, the customers. As customers, we want to deal with people with a good name. And if we are seeing in the newspapers every day on the shame list of URA, I wouldn't trust to transact with you because I need someone whom I need to protect my name too with the people I transact with, my customers, my suppliers. So I need to stay in business. Maybe the other one is you avoid us assessing you, because Hafsa talked about us assessing you if you fail to do what you are supposed to do. If you fail to file the return by the due date that they have given you, you are giving us liberty as you are to assess you. We shall assess you what we think as you are, based on the industrial, based on your peers, based that we can use. You can base on your previous returns in case you fail to file the return by that date. So you avoid that assessment. You will assess yourself the correct amount and pay the tax due. You will not leave URA to assess you their own amount. Maybe also the other thing, as we do business, as we do business, you will also expect you to give back to your government. You see, as you transact or get money from this country, you use the roads to move to your place. The customers also use the same roads, the suppliers. So it is good to give back to your government. Pay something, pay the little that you can from that money that you've earned from the country. Pay something. it is also good for you as a business. I think that's what I would say in summary. Of course, there are others where is prestige. Say I pay taxes, there's prestige for you as a person who pays. We also reward the compliant taxpayers. You heard of the taxpayer appreciation month, where we gather them in certain period, in certain place, and we give them awards and other gifts. Yeah, so it pays to be compliant. So I encourage all people out there, please comply by the due dates. Don't accept to file after the due date. Please use that time to file. Our channels are all available to assist you so that you are comfortable and you don't get that penalty, you get that prestige you want, you get that reputation you want, and contribution to the government.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Solomon, to add on what Joeria was saying, the carrot bit of it.
Yes.
You enjoy facilities that we avail.
Okay.
Because you might want a tax clearance in real time. We clear it under the green channel because we don't have any doubt in your compliance. You might want withholding tax exemption. We look at your compliance 3 years back consistently. How are you complying? If it's a company plus the directors, how have you been doing it? So all those are facilities. We have the AEO in customs, and we do a 360-degree check, because find the facilities in customs, but we need to come to the DT side and see what has been happening at yourself there. Then we look at you in totality. Before we give you that facility, how is it moving? So all that is to you if you need to comply, or if you comply. So we have all those facilities for a client, and maybe the installment payment, because ideally if you've been on the wrong side or the bad side of it, we might even fear to give you the installment payment because we are not sure whether you will not disappear. We are not sure of you, we are very uncertain of yourself. So please try to be on the better side so that we can transact business with you and even with your other clients. Because ideally when we are transacting business, it's a trust. It's a trust we get with you so that we can trust you to even give you other agentship issues that we have here. Because we have those we give agentship in withholding after trusting you and looking at you and looking at the volume of transactions you have, the kind of suppliers you have, the magnitude of the business and all that. Then we give you agentship for, say, withholding and maybe VAT and all that. So that is where we look at you from that perspective. So benefiting from the carrot side, I think would be the best instead of waiting for the stick. The stick is very hectic and it consumes your time. We consume funds that are not planned for through penalties and interest. The inconvenience itself, because we could even close the premises if you have failed actually to comply, and we are stuck, we will end up excusing you and seeing how we can create time for us. We could close your business so that you can get time for us and we can discuss. That wouldn't be the best, but you're pushing us to the wall to get the extreme measures to be managed by you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to come back to you, Hafsa,
Yes.
because I know for a fact that an ad has come out already, if not it's about to come out,
Yes.
inviting people to apply for WHT exemption
Yes.
for the new financial year. And you've hinted on it.
Yes.
And it's one of the carrots.
Yes.
But if you can break it down a little bit more explicitly,
Yes.
when we are doing the background checks to establish who qualifies for that WHT exemption and who doesn't. What are some of these areas that we really look at and consider?
We start with your profile at registration. How clear is it? How perfect is this? When you registered, how is your profile? Do we have the contacts well? Do we have the phone numbers well? Then we go on to the directors. Are the directors in URSB the same as the ones you gave us? Because ideally when you register at URSB, you could have 5 directors. But when you come to URA, you declare only 3 or 2. So we look at all that and compare and see how correct is your profile for starters. Then from there, have you registered for the tax types that you're eligible to? Then we see what has happened with the tax types. Have you complied? Complying in filing, complying in payment, and in filing, are you declaring 100%? Because you could declare, but you're partially declaring. Or you're under declaring, or you're misdeclaring. Under declaring means that your sales would have been maybe 50 million and you have given me 10. Misdeclaring means, I think it's all category. You have even failed to reflect what you have to reflect for starters. If I even look at figures, you have concealed some of your suppliers. You have done a lot of incorrect issues there. Then I move on to the profiles of the directors. Have you done the same as you did for companies? They should be accurate. The filing should be up to date. The payment should be up to date. We look at you 3 years back so that we can at least get some trust with you before we could exempt you. Because exempting you means that you are not going to be withheld from. But actually, you could withhold in case I give you agentship. That is also there. But how am I going to trust you with our monies when you deduct them from your suppliers? If you yourself, you have failed to manage yourself. So that's the first check we do for you. Then once we are contented and done, then probably we can give it to you. Then we keep monitoring, keep monitoring, keep monitoring. When you fall off the radar, automatically we will cancel it.
Thank you so much. I thought that needed to come out very clearly. This is probably the very last question that I'm going to ask, and it's coming from a gentleman called Dismas by way of Twitter. He is evidently angry, and he is saying, "But you are why do you send me these texts? Income tax declaration bichi bichi. Nze mumveko, I'm broke." And he also shares a screen grab of that text where he's saying, "Dear teen, the teen is mentioned. URA reminds you to file and pay your next income tax declaration by 30th June 2022, which is our deadline, the one that we've been talking about. Then there's a number to call. Call 772-141 for probably clarity." I know you hinted on it, Hafsa, but I want you to make it crystal clear for the benefit of the viewing Ugandans, how this SMS comes about and why it's very important.
That SMS starts like this at registration. It is you who supplies me your contact, as in the phone contact. You supply me with your email. Say that whatever I need to do on your tin, I need to notify you. Let me just imagine viewers out there and whoever has asked, I am transferring your vehicle.
The guy is Dismas.
Dismas. I am transferring your vehicle. Somebody has cracked into your account and has initiated a change of transfer to somebody you don't know. But ideally, you're the rightful registered owner. If I prompt you with a notification on SMS or email, won't it help you? It will help you, alert you that there is foul play. Then you run to URA to save the situation. In the same way, I notify you that, look here, I am not seeing you. It could be a reminder, then you come. When you come, you say, yes, I hadn't filed, but I'm still within the boundary of filing. Let me file, or let me object to that assessment. And once you object, means you don't agree with it. The system gives you a leeway that in the event that you don't agree with what we have sent you, give us your side. And give us your side in form of a return that you failed to do at the time you were mandated. So that is it. When I say please pay up this, if you feel you do not agree, please, you have a window to object. Object, the template is on the system. Just go into your account, log in with TIN and password, then look on your left hand side. We have a variety of the menu there. Look for objection with liability. Then put in that objection. Give us reasons why you feel what we have sent you does not coincide with your business, or is not, it doesn't reflect the right picture in terms of figures. then we will receive it. Look at it, communicate to you, avail us what information we will need, then come to a middle ground. That is what it means, dismiss. So whenever we communicate to you, it is healthy. Just imagine we keep quiet this year, we keep quiet another year, we come after 5 years, and we tell you we need 100 million. It is you, Dismas and colleagues, who will ask, where have you been? Why haven't you been communicating? So that is the communication that is healthy, that I am giving you now. And there is a window. If you don't accept it, it's well okay not to agree, but we have a solution of how you can handle it professionally. Then file an objection. Give us your side, we look at it, compare the two, then we'll get a middle ground at the end of it all.
Thank you so much, Hafsa.
Then maybe Solomon,
Yes,
add
Vicky.
on what Hafsa said, our brother Dismas shouldn't be really, shouldn't feel bad, because as we earlier on said, telephone, email is a means that we communicate, we reach out to our taxpayers. If when we don't communicate, you will not know this, what is happening. That email he or she could have received on filing is a reminder. Like, play your role, honor your tax obligations by filing your return, declaring. And of course, normally when we come up with such reminders, there below it always says, if you've honored, please ignore it. So it's both. It answers for those who have filed. If you file, please, you can ignore it. But if you've not, it acts as a reminder for you to do your role.
The tree has to be shaken if there is fruit.
Okay, let me also add.
Yes.
Christmas, I think you should also check on how you registered, because apparently you seem to say you're broke. We don't know whether you are in business and the business is not working. We don't know whether you registered as an employee whose employer is supposed to file the return for them. You should check on your TIN and see whether you registered for business. Yes, if it's business, the requirement is you should file a return.
If it's employment?
Yeah. If it is employment, the thing is the employer is supposed to file a return on your behalf. So finally, find out, how did you register for this TIN? What is your source of income? And check, is it, because we could be sending you these messages when actually you are an employee earning income somewhere, you don't have even any business. So you should check and see if you have business. Yes, there is a requirement to file a return. And this return, we are not saying that every time you file a return, you pay. File the return, pay the resultant tax. It may be a negative. It could be you have not operated in this business that you registered with us. You've earned 0. File that return so that you avoid that penalty that we are talking about that is going to come. The 200 or 2% of the liability, whichever is higher. Yeah. So file that, yes, whichever is higher. So it doesn't hurt to remind you, because this is a trigger for you. It means we have records, we have your records in our system, and they are indicating you have supposed to file a return. Find out what income source is this that they are demanding me to file a return for. If it does not exist, you can amend this TIN and put the right source of income. Put the right source of income and also use the right avenue to file that return, because it does not hurt at all.
Thank you so much. I was about to close, but we have this very pertinent question that I can't close without asking. There are actually two. Let me start with the one from Eric Zachary by way of Twitter. He's saying, Goodfellas at URA, what taxes do persons owning small budukas file for? Is it just the monthly VAT returns, or there is more to it? He needs clarity on the kind of taxes that are remitted by people running small budukas. You'll take care of that. Then the other question is a question from a lady called Joan by way of Zoom. And Joan is saying, there is a message of system transition. Please hint on it. My turnover is over 5 billion, but I wish to continue with the previous way of making e-invoices. Is it a must to carry out transition? I think this is a question concerning IFRS, system to system.
Yes.
And yes, Joan wants to get some clarity. If I can read it again, there is a message of system to system transition. please hint on it. My turnover is over 5 billion, but I wish to continue with the previous way of making e-invoices. Is it a must to carry out this transition? Joan is asking.
Joan, and maybe to the other viewers, I think it was about March, we gazetted, or the Commissioner General, through Ministry of Finance, gazetted a particular category of clients to use the system to system. Initially, when we rolled out IFRIS, we gave you a self-service. You either use system to system, or you use the portal, or electronic fiscal devices. We only dictated on a few businesses, and those were the supermarkets, the manufacturers, the hardwares, for them to use system to system. But now we made it clear, and we even put it in the Gazette, that effective 1st July, we even served them communication, that in the event that you fall within the 3 categories, you will be mandated to use system to system. If your turnover exceeds 2 billion in a particular year, that is one criteria. If you have an existing billing, receipting system or invoicing system, then why not connect it to a system? Then if you can make 100 transactions and above on a daily basis, you qualify for system to system. So any of those where you fall, we expect you to be on system to system effective 1st of July 2022. So it is now a gazette, it's mandatory.
Chechiriwo.
Yes, Chechiriwo. But we went ahead and accredited system integrators via the portal. In the event that you don't know where to touch, because some of these big companies already have in-house software developers with them, so they do not need to hustle a lot. But for those that don't have, we accredited a number of integrators. There are about 22 via the portal, where you go to the portal, you don't need to log on. When you're facing your machine on the portal page, the home page, you look on your right hand side where you have list of agents. Once you click on that, then you look at all the agents that are there. We have the domestic taxes agents, we have the customs agents, we have the withholding tax agents, we have the exempted withholding tax list, then we have the system integrators down at the bottom. So you're free to choose whom to work with amongst those. So now it is basically clear, I think, to whoever has asked and the viewers.
It was John,
yes,
who had asked, and I think you've made it very crystal clear to
yes,
her.
Yes.
Now over to Joelia to answer the question from Eric Zachary, if you remember the question.
Yes,
this particular question from another gentleman called Solomon, is my namesake, is a question that is related to that, and Solomon is asking, if I have a business, he called it a business, and when I calculate the sales in a year of my business, I don't raise 10 million. Do I pay income tax? Okay. These two are related. If you can address them the same.
Thank you, Solomon. What we consider as small businesses URA is that business which does not earn above 150 million in sales in a year. So if your total turnover is not above 150 million, that one is considered a small business. So for small businesses, we designed a simple return. It's called a presumptive tax return. With this return, you just go and register a payment. You just give us an estimate of the sales you have made, and you also tell us whether you keep some records or you don't keep. So if you keep records, that means if you don't keep records, it has brackets. So if you are earning between 10 million to 30 million, if you keep records, we say 0.4% of the amount above 10 million. So those ones who are below 10 million, they pay 0. Those ones who don't keep records, they will pay us a flat fee of 80,000. This amount keeps increasing up to the last bracket, ending at 150 million, paying 900,000 if you don't have records.
That flat fee is your punishment for failure to keep books?
Yes. Yeah, because we want to encourage those small businesses, most of them don't keep records. So to encourage people to keep records so that they pay little tax or small tax, we give a less amount to someone who has some record. Because it's very difficult to estimate someone who doesn't have any record at all.
That's true.
Just assumes, I think I made 30 million, and is not accepting the tax you are giving him. So they put just a flat amount that you pay of 200 if you're above. It keeps increasing, there are 4 brackets.
As you go through the band.
Yeah, then you also talked about VAT, that small business, they only pay VAT. No. VAT is a tax on consumption, and it is paid by the final consumer. It is mandatory for those people who are above 150 million to register for VAT, so that they collect this VAT and submit it to URA.
On behalf of the government.
Yeah, on behalf of government. Yeah. So that person who is below 150 million, it is not a must for you to register for VAT. If you're dealing in taxable supplies, or even not, if you're dealing in taxable supplies and you are below 150 million, it is not a requirement that you should register for VAT. But you can voluntarily register. Of course, you shall do an inspection, confirm that you have records, first of all. You file returns and they are reliable and regular. You should be a fit and proper person, of course, in front of the commissioner. Then you should be having a place where you can find, we call it a fixed place of a board. So you apply voluntarily and register. VAT is filed monthly. So the moment you go on the VAT register, the requirement is you should file a monthly return for VAT by the 15th of the following month. Also, there's another requirement on IFRIS. I just talked about IFRIS. So that it was passed by the minister that every person who is registered for VAT should as well register for IFRIS, the electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution. Maybe the other tax head then for small business is for any person who employs someone earning above 235. This is supposed to charge pay on that person. This pay is not paid by the business, it's paid by the employee. Your employee, that employee who is earning above 235, you are required, the obligation is on you to deduct that amount of pay from them and submit it to URA. Not paid by you, by the person, but it's also a requirement for you to register for pay.
Joria, waliwo akataleke kakaze, and I had to revert to Luganda for that one. It's from John still, and it's the very last one. Okay. Let me run it by you, you address it, then we shall call it a show, really. John is asking, again, in my business, I use a lot of casual workers whom I meet randomly. I pay them between 50K and 200,000 per month. I might use them this month, and another month I do not use them. Okay. Or I can spend another 2 months without using them. Am I supposed to include them in my pay return, because I can't pay NSSF for them since I wouldn't be having any details about them? She goes into NSSF, but address the issue of whether she must include them in her pay return.
Yeah, we have said anyone who earns below 235, whether a casual or what, below 235, that person is not supposed to. It is not. You are not supposed
whether
to.
Whether contracted or not.
So, but if you have any person among those, if you have any person who has earned more than 235 in a month, when you add up in a month, that means you should include all of them. Include, because this figure that you include in the pay return is the same figure that you're going to transfer to your income tax return when you're filing. So if you find that you declared only one person whom you pay 300,000, even if the rest are paying 200, and you transfer only 300,000 times 12 to the final return, then we shall consider it under declaration, because there will be a variance between your expense in the income tax return and the expense that you have declared in the payee return. So if you have, even if it's one person, you should declare all the rest, but they will have zero.
The returns have to balance.
Yes, they will have zero. If you don't have any, it is okay.
Thank you so much for that. And that brings us to the end of the Live Tax Lounge. Parting shot in under a minute.
Our dear viewers, this morning we would like to thank you for having spent that time with us to learn and probably make yourselves better. But from Uganda Revenue Authority, we are still reminding you, we have a few days to 30th of June. Look into your records, look at your compliance. Just log on onto your account with TIN and password. Just go below on your left hand side, click on where your tax ledger is, look at what it has. You may not know that there is a figure, and check and see what is uncomfortable to you. Come, we will explain to you how those figures come up. And secondly, if you have tax to pay, make sure you generate a slip and go and pay it, or come and enter into a payment arrangement with Uganda Revenue Authority. But more so, please try to comply by putting in your return, pushing in that payment, so that at the end of it all, we can achieve the target by you paying the little that comes from your side, and each of us paying their fair share of taxes, so that we can develop Uganda together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hafsa. Vicky?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, our dear listeners, viewers out there. We call upon you to honor your tax obligations this season by filing your returns. As Hafsa said, please, it's the time to arrange or get right our records to be able to submit your final returns. My advice to you is, let's play our role. Let's be patriotic. Part of the patriotism is by paying our fair share of tax. That's loving our country. Let's do it as we develop our country together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Joria.
Thank you, Solomon. Thank you, our viewers, for watching us since we started. My humble request is to remind those who have not yet filed. If your accounting date is 31st December, your due date is 30th June for filing the provisional return. Please file that return and pay the tax due. If your accounting date is 30th June, please, this is your time to put in that second installment. Please pay that second installment so that you abide and you don't get any inconvenience from URA. You will not get the penalties, the assessments. You avoid all those. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for hosting us. I am Joria.
Thank you so much, Joria. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the Live Tax Lounge of this particular day. It's probably the year closing Live Tax Lounge, but of course we shall continue to televise and come through different shows to you, so that you get the information that you do need. Don't go away if you're watching from YouTube, because another live stream is going to come up, and we are going to be having my brother Saleh Kamba having a conversation with Stephen Chigundu and Charles Katabi around the influence of science in revenue administration. It's going to be streaming live on our YouTube. It's going to be streaming live on the Taxman blog. And of course, by way of Zoom, that link has already been shared on all the social platforms. Go there, check it out, and see what it is that they have to share with you today. Of course, I don't do this without acknowledging the team that is behind me. Our producer, Irene Kabakama, the only lady on the URTV crew at the moment. And of course, Muki Muki on camera together with Trevor Sentongo, and the dynamic duo that makes sure that everything, the sound and the picture are great. Omaria, John Bosco, and Paul Kawanguzi in the director's booth. From all of us at URA TV to all of you, adios.